Okay, good morning, students. This is my second slide on communication chapter. In my previous slide, I have elaborated what is communication, how does communication network function, and the different types of communication we can see. And lastly, I had described the formal communication. Now, in this present slide, we will focus on informal communication. Listen to this video very carefully, and I hope your confusion will be cleared after listening to this video. Okay, let's go. Uh, okay, this is the informal communication. In the formal communication, we had seen the conversation deals with only the official matter or the business matter, and that is why the conversation was called formal communication. Now, in informal communication, one thing is very important, that in informal communication there is no chain of command, and informal communication is very casual and spontaneous in nature. So, informal communication occurs when people come together and talk about their working conditions, family, co workers, etc., in a very casual tone or casual manner, and their conversation flows very spontaneously. Okay, and the most interesting part of informal communication is here the flow of information is absolutely free of organizational jurisdiction or organization boundaries. There is no terms and conditions imposed on, or there is no rules and regulations to govern the communication procedure. So informal communication is absolutely free and spontaneous expression of the employees. Humor, gossip, etc. are the examples of informal communication in the organization. Okay. Now, Gravin. Gravin is an example of informal communication. So, Gravin communication is obviously an informal interpersonal channel of information, not officially sanctioned, obviously, by the organization. So, griefing is compared as the rumor or gossip within the organization. The spread of information through griefing communication is extremely fast. There are different types of griefing channel we can visualize. The first one is single strand chain, then gossip chain, then probability chain, and lastly the cluster chain. These are the different classification of griefing. Okay. Now comes the single strand chain. In this video or in this image, you can see the information is coming from one single person, and the flow is throughout a single chain. This chain consists of one on one interaction. That means one versus one. In it, L is an employee who is having the information. This person says something to a second person, to M, who then relays it to a third person called N, and N again is sharing the information to another person, O. This is the least accurate of four chains, and with the increase of transit points, the chances of distortion and deletion increases. And this is the disadvantage of any graphene chain, that the message can be distorted at any point, as the message is transmitted through different points or different persons. So there is high chance of message distortion. Normally, in a single chain or single strand chain system, the confidential matters are shared. Suppose one confidential matter is with L. Now L is sharing that information with one of his most trusted person M, and then M shares the important information or secret information or confidential information to one of his most trusted person N. So in this way, this information is spread throughout the organization, and as the information is spread, one-to-one contact through a single strand system, this is called the single strand chain network Griffin system. Then gossip chain. Okay, in a gossip chain, it is quite obvious from this image that L is the person who is at the center, and then Q, P, O, N, M, T, S, R. These are the different other people who are surrounding with L. Okay. This chain is characterized by a group of people gathering to discuss matters of mutual interest. Normally, we can see in a gossip chain, some funny or trivial matters are discussed. Suppose here one person seeks out and tells everyone the news that he or she has gathered. Suppose L is having some funny news or information to share with the other crew members. Now L is sharing the information with P, O, N, M, T, S and the other all the members with whom he is interacting at that moment. Always we have to keep in mind that this matter is very funny and trivial in nature, and immediately it causes laughter and hilarious movement. So it is used to relay interesting bites of news that may not be job oriented. And whenever that person is sharing information with the other group members, all the members are also interacting with that employee or with that person. And as this news is a matter of laughter or amusement or a matter of fun, all the group members interact with each other and they make a pure gossip, and for that it is called gossip chain network system. Okay, then the cluster chain network system. This is the most popular Griffin pattern. Information is passed on a selective basis to a few members only. In this cluster chain, information which is very interesting and which is very burning topic at that moment is spread throughout the organization through one-to-many contact or one-to-many verses. The first sender informs a few chosen individuals who again pass on the information to individuals of their choice or give the information to themselves. Like M is a person who is having the information. The information is very important, urgent and burning topic at that moment. M is sharing the information with L because L has immediately come in contact with M, and M finds L as a trustworthy person. Then L shares the information with N and O. With N and Q. Now N is again sharing this information with O and P, as all these persons came to his contact immediately. So the choice of recipient depends on the content and intent of the message, as well as the relationship between the members of the crew. As the information is spread one versus many way, one versus many network system, so it is called cluster chain system. Then probability chain. In a probability chain, the message is passed on randomly without direction or method. The choice of recipient depends on the sender's will, situation, or context. Okay, if the sender finds, suppose lots of uh, persons or innumerable persons have come in contact with a person who is having the information, but it will depend on the intention and will of the speaker with whom he or she is going to share the information. So sender is indifferent or not interested in the receiver, he chooses, and in that case information uh, will be confined to that person only. So in probability chain, the message is transmitted with the other persons depending on the will and intention of the speaker who is having the information. So this is how the probability chain works. So in the informal communication, what we have seen, that if we summarize, then in the informal communication process, information flow is very free and open. Employees outburst is very spontaneous, and informal communication is absolutely free of command. There is no chain of command, there is no rules and regulations which can control the communication process. And informal communication deals with absolutely casual and uh, non-official matter, communication which is related to unofficial matter. The most advantage of informal communication is it supplies oxygen. Suppose one employee uh, is coming to the office, and whenever he is starting his day in the office, he is overburdened with work pressure. He has to do this work, he has to deliver that work, he has to send message to this person, he has to face this meeting, he has to face clients, etc., etc., and etc. He is overburdened with official responsibilities, and while doing official duties, that person may feel that all his energies are gone. He is extremely exhausted, but after 4 or 5 hours of work, when that person finds some break, when he goes to the coffee shop and meets his friend or colleagues who is working in other departments, they come and uh, they participate in informal communication, like what is their planning in the weekend, or they discuss with a movie that they have recently seen, or they may discuss on the um, on the any outing that they have uh, recently made. So all these communications may help the employees to remove the anxiety or stress that incorporated in their mind due to the official process, or can supply fresh energy, can revive their energy level, and they can feel energized whenever they come back to their official work again. They feel very enthusiastic, motivated, and energized, and they can start their official work with a great charm. So informal communication supplies oxygen to the employees, boost of their morality, boost of their motivation, and help them to deal with the difficulties with a great charm. But one disadvantage of informal communication is there is no documentation maintained in informal communication, because it is absolutely verbal or oral communication, and that's why there is no official documentation. And in most of the cases, the information becomes distorted. As the information travels through different points or different persons, there is a high chance that the information gets distorted. Okay, so this is one most negative aspect of informal communication, and for that reason informal communication is called as rumor or gossip within the organization. So uh, in this slide we are dealing with only the informal communication, and this portion is very important, and questions may come in your semester examination on grave win. So grave win is an example of informal communication, and there are four systems through which grave win can spread within the organization. One is the single strand system, then the gossip chain, then the cluster chain, and lastly the probability chain. Okay, in a single strand system, information is spread one versus one way. One person is sharing the information with the other person, the other person is sharing the information with one of his close associate, and in this way the information is spread. Through single strand system, important and confidential matters are spread. Though information is spread uh, in single strand system, but still as the matter is uh, spread through one versus one employees, the speed of uh, spreading the information is slow, a bit slow in single strand system. Then the gossip chain. In the gossip chain, information is spread one to many uh, network system, and the funny or trivial matter, hilarious matter, funny events or information related to any funny moment is spread through gossip chain network system. Then comes the cluster chain. In a cluster chain system, the information is spread through one to many network system, and through cluster chain, interesting burning topic, urgent topic is spread immediately, and it depends on the intention of the speaker with whom he or she shares the information, and this is the way the information is spread. And lastly, the probability chain network system. In this probability chain network system, message is spread through one to many networking system, and uh, again the spread of information depends on the intention of the speaker with whom uh, the person is sharing the information, or the sender is interested to share. It depends on the will and intention and the selective capability of the sender. So this is the way information is spread through probability chain. So we have discussed in this slide the informal communication system. uh, Listen to this video very carefully, because grapevine itself is a very important topic, and question may come from this part. Okay, we'll discuss the other segments of communication in next slide. Till then, bye bye.